today we're going to do a little bit of review with area and perimeter because it is such an important topic in math and you're going to be doing a lot of it next year in 4th grade. So the first problem that we're going to do together that I'm going to lead you through is just a typical area and perimeter problem. So you might be given a rectangle and you're given two sides, and you may be asked, what is the area and what is the perimeter of this shape? So to find the perimeter, that is the outside of a shape, and you need to add up all the sides, but only two are shown. So what you have to remember is that opposite sides are equal in rectangles, so that this would be 12 down here and this is 7. And then you add them all together. 12 plus 12 is 24. And 7 plus 7 is 14. And when I add them together, I get 38. Area is the space taken up inside. It's like an array when we're talking about a rectangle. And so this array is a 7 by 12 array. So the number model I need to do is 7 times 12. Now, that's a little bit of a tricky math problem, so I might break apart the 12 into a 10 and a 2. I know that 7 times 10 is 70. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. And so my area is 84. So for this problem, you were given both sides, but you had to find the area and perimeter using those sides. Sometimes we get a little bit trickier with these problems now that you guys are pros at area and perimeter. So you might see a problem like this. You might be given one side, which is 10, and you're also given the perimeter, meaning if all the sides were added up, it would equal 38. So here's how you would solve that problem. I know that 10 is on this side, 10 has to be on this side too, because they are opposite and they're equal. So then what I do is I say 38, take away my two 10s, which is 20. And I am left with 18. But my side length is not 18. My side length has to be this 18 has to be divided evenly between two sides. So 18 divided in half perfectly is 9. And the way I check my work is I add them all up to see if it indeed equaled 38. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 18 is 38. So I did that correctly. Now I can find the area. I know that this side is 9 and this side is 10, and 9 times 10 is 90. For this problem, you were given one side and the perimeter. Likewise, instead of being given the perimeter, you might be given the area to start with. So this time you have one side length, which is 9, and you've been given the area. So you have to think about, okay, what number times 9 equals 72? And the answer is 8. So I can fill in my side length 8 there. Now to find the perimeter, I add them up. 9 plus 9 is 18. 8 plus 8 is 16. And when I add them together, I get 34. Okay, so this was kind of a review of different ways you might see area and perimeter problems where you're not given all the information you're needed. For this problem, you were given one side in the area. The other types of problems you might see have to do with rectilinear shapes. And rectilinear, as a reminder, means shapes made up of rectangles. So this is a rectilinear shape. And in order to find the area and perimeter of the rectilinear shape, it is important to first find the missing sides and then divide the shape into rectangles. So, first of all, I need to find the missing sides. And the way that I do that is I use the sides that I already have. I know that if this were an actual rectangle, it would come out like this. And this whole side would equal 9, just like across from it. And this whole side would equal 10 because that's opposite it. So here's what we do. This piece is missing. I don't know what that is, but I do know that this is 5. And I know that 5 plus some number has to equal 9, and that some number is 4. Likewise, here, this is missing, but I know that this whole thing has to equal 10, and 6 plus some number is 10, and that is also 4. So now that I have figured out my missing side lengths, I can divide this into rectangles to find the area. So I'm going to divide it this way. So I have this a smaller rectangle and a bigger rectangle. Well, this rectangle to the left has one side that is 5 and one side that is 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. Likewise, this rectangle has one side length of 6 and one side length of 9. And 6 times 9 is 54. When I add 54 to 20, I get 74 as my area. To find the perimeter, I add up every single side length. I have 10, 5, 4, 4, 6, and 9. So I get 10 plus 10 here, which is 20, plus 9, which is, so we have 20 plus 18, which is 38. Just like that. Okay. Let's try one more. Here we go. All right, so we have 2 missing side lengths that I need to find in order to successfully do area and perimeter. And I know that this whole side here is 7, so I know that this side here has to be 7. I have 2 accounted for. 7 take away 2 is 5, so I know that has to be 5. And then here, I have 4 accounted for, but I know the whole thing has to equal 15. So 15 take away 4 is 11. Great. So to find the perimeter, I add up everything. I have 15, 11 and 4 is 15, so that's 30. I have 7 and 2 and 5 is 7, so that's 14. So I have 30 plus 14, which is 44. And then area, I divide this into 2 rectangles. I'm going to do this one here. So I have a 5 by 11, which is 55. And here I have a 4 by 7, which is 28. 55 plus 28 is 83. Today you are going to be completing a sheet on Seesaw, or you can print it out and then upload it to Seesaw, that has to do with area and perimeter of rectangles and rectilinear shapes.